Hey guys, how are you guys? How are you? So I want to start out by saying that the lighting's probably not going to be too great. I think it's okay at this angle, but in order for you guys to see what I'm doing, I am going to have to move you around. So I'll wait for just a moment, and we're going to do some coffee dyeing. So I hope that you guys are having a lovely start to your day. Hello, Andre. Do I say your name correctly? Because I know you've been here before. I have a few different things set up, and I'm trying to figure out actually how I'm going to set up the camera. Yeah. Hi, Dana. Hello, guys. So, I feel like coffee dyeing is one of the easiest things in this junk journal world. But I know so many people are intimidated by it, or I will go tell someone like, just do it, you can't mess it up. And then I've heard people say like, it didn't work for me kind of thing. And I actually just saw a post from my friend Lori in my Facebook group, and I'm pretty sure she said that she hasn't been able to get her papers super dark. I didn't give her a heads up. I wish I would have, so she was on here, but she might hop on. And so yeah, I just thought I wanted to come on live anyways, and so I thought that I'm coffee dyeing right now. I'm needing to finish 500 pages by the end of this week. So I got 100 done so far, but I have this big stack here. Yeah, so I am actually going to be doing some coffee dyeing with just regular coffee. I'm going to do some tea dyeing, and then I'm going to experiment, and I'm going to add in some Delusions ink spray. This is in, what is this? Melted chocolate. Hi guys. And then what else? Oh, and then I do like to add in shimmer sprays, but that's not going to make our coffee dyeing like any darker. And I will say that I don't usually get my papers too dark as it is, but let me show you. I'll just grab, I usually always have a little stack that's done, so I can give you an idea of what my papers look like. Something that I love is I love getting cool transfers. And when I leave them out to dry overnight, I find that I don't get very many different, like, I guess transfers. I don't know what else to call it. I think that's what it is. But when I bake them in the oven, they do seem to get darker. So if you guys can see that from here up, it's a little bit darker, if you can see that. And that's because when I dry it, I fold them in half, and then I placed another one on top. And so from that other one being on top, that gave it that darker transfer. And then on the back here, if you can see, there are some really cool textures, and that's just because there was coffee, I think it was coffee kind of pooled underneath, and I let it overnight to dry. But when I do it in the oven, this was on a cupcake pan, and you can get different shapes, and you know they make cupcake pans in different shapes, so like hearts. I see Lynette from Cheaply Chic use her heart pan a lot, and that's so cool. So you can get creative and think of different pans that will make your coffee dyed paper dry a certain way. Like, like those cookie, what is it called? They're like cookie trays. It has like the lines, I don't know. Or if you want to dry your paper straight on the burner thing. What am I trying to say? Anyways, so it's starting to get really bright, which is kind of a bummer because it's going to be hard. But anyways, so I'm finally going to get into it. Let me see if I can just turn you guys around. It's going to be the dot pans for grilling turn out amazing. Yeah, I bet. Okay, so it's going to be just a sec because I'm going to try and turn you guys around so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just doing this very simple right now, okay? So this is just going to be to show you how I really do it, and for us to experiment and see how different the tea is from the coffee and what it's going to look like when we add in that brown ink, because I think that's going to give us a really dark look. And yeah. Okay guys, I know you're like kind of seeing my sink, so let me wait and see. Also, when I have you turn around like this, I'm not going to be able to read your comments when I'm like down here working. Yes, doilies. Good, yeah, good thing to bring that up, because doilies are awesome. So if you add some doilies on top of your drying papers, or you also dip them in coffee, they will absolutely do some really cool things. And I have done stamping and embossing on my papers. I've done a lot of different experiments on videos, but you know, those videos kind of get lost. And so, hello. Okay, so we're just gonna hop right in. This tea, I will say, it's not black tea. I don't know if people normally use black tea. You can use whatever you have, but mine is green tea, and I mixed in some, like, I don't know, it's like vanilla tea. So it smells good, but it's like a greenish color, so I don't know what it's gonna do, but I just use what I have. I don't like go out and buy something new. This is just regular coffee. So anyways, let me just go ahead and get started. I have some essential oils. I like how it smells, and so I'm gonna put some in there. So that's literally just for a smell. And yeah, I'll just get started. And this is just old coffee from yesterday that it didn't get finished. So this is what I like to do. I think that oil actually kind of made some weird spots on there, but that's okay. It'll mix in. I like to dip, so I dip one side, flip it over, dip the other, and then I actually fold it while it's in here. It just works the quickest for me. And when I'm having to do like 600, 700 pages, I like to get it going as fast as I can. Okay guys, so like I said, I can't see the screen right now, so if you have any specific questions for me, just wait a sec and then I will let you know when I'm looking at the screen again. But I'm going to do some of these like so, just so you guys can see. And I stack them up. I hope that you guys, I know that it's a little dark too, I'm realizing that. So I won't keep you like this for too long just because I know it's a little dark, but I don't have very many options for how I can set you up. Okay, so let me just do 3 of those. I will dry these in the oven so that I can hopefully show you guys what they look like once we're done. Now I'm going to dip it into the tea, and again, keep in mind this isn't black tea, so it might not really be a good comparison, and I would obviously recommend using a bigger pan. I know, I'm sure that at some point I'll get a comment on this video saying you should use a bigger pan, but I don't have one. So this looks super light, so I mean, I don't know. But another thing to mention is that normally when your papers dry, they're gonna look a little bit different and darker than what they look like when they are wet. So keep that in mind. This might not look like much is gonna happen, but it probably will. There will be something going on. I use regular coffee usually, because I usually have leftover, but I also have used instant coffee from the Dollar Tree many times. I actually just did yesterday, and I don't see any difference except for it's less expensive. I have used dye in different colors a million times, and I actually have like an in-depth video. I'm trying to fold this. And I think I called it like unicorn dye or mermaid dye paper, one of the two, and I went into detail showing you different ways that you could get really cool swirly effects and things like that. And so when I do different colored sprays, I usually do a pan of water just like this, and then I take my sprays and I'll spray the color directly into the water and then like stamp the paper in. So that's what I do. I am going to add some spray. Whoops. I did just get pretty messy, but that's okay. I am going to add some spray to this coffee right here, maybe even to the tea. That would be cool. Okay, so I'm just putting these over to the side. And then I will say that the tea dyed ones look super light, but I've never used Kool-Aid, but I'm sure it's really cool, and I bet it smells really good. And you can use literally anything that would dye water. Okay, so I'm going to spray my dilution spray. I like to spray it on top and it kind of lingers there for a sec. And then put it in like so. Oh my goodness, is this red? Weird. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like a red color. I'm really not sure why that is, but that's pretty cool. I don't know if... Weird. I'm very stumped right now. Let's spray it on. I don't know. It's brown when well, I guess it has a reddish tint, but and yes, it does oh, you know what? I just saw when I It is kind of a brown. Okay, I guess that would be chocolatey. I don't know. Anyways, yes, it is like marbling. And so that's why when I use different colors, I will spray a few on and I wait while the water kind of swirls around, and then I stamp the paper down, and you will get that imprint. And I think you can make like marbled paper doing something very similar. But this is why I kind of like to do the ink sprays where I just spray it on top and stamp it in. But you could also mix it in. So I'll just do one more, and then I'll turn you guys around and I'll put these in the oven so I can see what you're saying. But you don't have, also I should say, you don't have to fold them in half like this. I do because I don't have a ton of room and I'm making so many that I have to have a lot of space. And so I have my counters lined with wax paper right now and saran wrap, just whatever I had. And so let me turn this around real quick. Sorry guys. Okay, there we go. And I have used food coloring, and I find that I get pretty much the same effect as I would with any type of sprays. I just find that I haven't personally found a ton of really awesome colors. But okay, and Wanda, I was actually just gonna go over that. So I was thinking, I know I've been asked before if my papers stick together when I stack them on top of each other. So this is not a yes or no. When I fold my papers in half, as long as there is wetness in the middle, and then I only stack like one more touching that, so just like I have here, I don't get any tearing, like ever. Let's see, unless maybe it's a really thin paper. So these are all folded in half, and then as you can see, the top one is touching the bottom one, and they're kind of on top of each other. I don't get tearing this way. However, if I were to go in and do a second layer like that and start stacking them up, they always stick together and tear. I don't know what the difference is, but maybe it's just too much. And so what I will do is I will have this lined, and then I will take more saran wrap or wax paper, and I will line it over these pieces right here, and then I'll do another layer. And I can do that like 10 times, and I don't find anything, you know, breaking. However, it is going to take way longer to dry, but if I'm leaving it overnight, it doesn't seem to be a problem for me at all. Sorry guys. Let me put you here. I'm going to scroll through really quick just to see some questions. And the weight of paper I'm using, it's printer paper. I think that's 20 pound. I could be wrong, but I'm used to using printer paper. I used to use cardstock because I used to think, why does everyone use printer paper? I'm going to go all out and use cardstock because like it's just better kind of thing. But I didn't like it because these do dry, and you might already know this because I'm pretty sure you coffee dye. But what was I gonna say? Oh, when these dry, they become a lot more, what am I trying to say? They become harder. Like it almost feels like cardstock to me when they dry. And so I found that when I would do cardstock, it would just be too heavy. But, yeah. Yes, Lori, I did see your post, and part of seeing that was what sparked my thinking to do this video. So last night, or yesterday, I was already doing coffee dyeing, and so I thought about doing a live video, and it just worked out perfectly because I saw your question, and then I saw some other questions. So, and I know that people have questions about coffee dyeing all the time. To me, I feel like it's so easy and like you can't mess it up, but even my mom was over yesterday and she was like, can you teach me how to do that so that I can do it and help you at home? And I was like, yeah, you just dip it in coffee though. And she's like, but I want to see it. So I totally understand that sometimes seeing something makes it a lot easier to understand. And so temperature of oven. I'm going to tell you, but I don't want you to copy what I do. I put mine at 350. I didn't used to do this. I would do it at 190, and I will always tell you guys, just do 190. But I'm always in a hurry to get them dried, and I promise you that I'm very safe. So when I put them in the oven when they're at 350, it's always putting them on a pan, and then I put my timer on for 4 minutes, and I keep the oven door open. So it's probably less than 350 with the oven door open, or I don't know. Yeah, but that's what I do. I've heard other people say that they do it that high, but you should probably do it lower just because that's, I don't know, I think. So I'm going to put mine in the oven real quick. So I'm going to do one of each here. And sorry guys, I'm not going to show you my oven because it's gross. But, okay, I'm going to take one of the coffee ones, and I put them in there folded. And I'm just putting it on a pan. Sizzle, sizzle. I'm going to put one of, and yeah, start low and work the temperature up. That's a really good, that is good. And you know what? So my oven, I'm certain that it doesn't cook things fast. I usually have to double the time. So I honestly think that something's wrong with my oven. So it might not really be 350 because I used to start at the low temp and it would take so long. So I did slowly get up to the 350. So that might have something to do more with something being wrong with my oven. Oh, and I've never ironed my paper. I've heard people doing that. I'll be honest, if I was doing it for a special project, maybe I would do it, but I don't like doing very tedious things that take a long time, and that it seems like it takes a really long time. I just like to keep mine out overnight, or if I'm doing it in the day, I'll maybe dry a batch here and there. But yeah, I don't like spending that much time, but it would be cool to experiment and see. If I knew where my iron was, I could even grab it right now and we could try. But what do you iron it on? Like, can I do it on my countertops? Do I put a towel down and then put the paper? I would love to know that if you know. So when they're wet, I use a salt shaker filled with coffee for darker stained spots. That's cool. Yeah, that's another thing you can do. You can also like double dip your paper. You can dry it and then dip it again. I think that's a really good way to get a darker look. Because I've tried really, really dark coffee, like so dark. And I always find that my papers don't turn out that much darker. Okay, you use a towel on the counter and steam temp. That's cool. And so I assume that gives it a really flattened out look. See, I kind of like the crinkliness, but then it dries it too. So yes, I love drying them in the sun, and during the summer that was all I did. But I live in Oregon and we don't have too much sunshine right now. What if you put Jello powder in a shaker? That's cool. See, the thing I worry about with trying that, like Jello or Kool-Aid, it seems like, would it get sticky, or I don't know. That would be cool. I guess not, because it's not, well, anyways. So I'm using my hand to pick these up and turn them over. And you can see that this one already has the really cool cupcake designs. And then you can open it up, and on the inside it kind of shows through. So if I think that one's taking too long to dry, you can open it up. But see, I feel like you can only put so much in the oven at once, and so that's why I don't like how long it takes. But yeah, I am watching these close, so I'm just looking down here. My dad brought me Dutch Bros this morning because he was dropping something off. I think that one side's always darker because normally it's either laying in coffee on the bottom, or if it's drying on that side. I mean, if you're still getting that effect and you are drying equal time on each side, I'm not sure, but I think it has to do with that. That's cool. You dyed some paper with a bottle of Hawaiian Punch and it wasn't sticky. Cool. I think there's so many fun different things that we can do. Have you guys seen boiled paper or something? I don't know what it's called. I always forget. but it's where you gather things from outside, like leaves and different, yeah, like mostly like leaves and flowers, and then you stack paper, and then the leaves, paper, leaves, paper, flowers, like all the things you found outside, every other, and then you like tie them together in a bundle, and then something about taking a big pot and you boil it with your water in. Okay, someone just said, Dana said, I so want to try eco paper dyeing. That's what it is, eco paper dyeing. I want to do that so bad. I'm like looking outside like, could we do that today? But I don't have too much time to go do that today. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take these out. They're still a little wet, but no, actually they're not. I just don't want to forget to look while I'm filming. I'm gonna turn my oven off because I don't think I'm gonna dye anymore. Clear off. Okay, so let's take a look here. Oh, my hands are so dry. One moment. I gotta put some lotion on. I can't stand dry hands. Cool, eco dyeing. Put it on the to-do list, right? Okay, so let's take a look here. This is the paper with the coffee plus the Delusions ink. I really like it. I think it's really, really cool. I'm pretty sure I'll continue to use that ink. This is the regular coffee, but keep in mind that I did put it on the cupcake pan, so maybe I shouldn't have done that so that we could compare better. But so you can see the darker spots happen where there wasn't the pan, or like the, yeah, I don't know. And then the tea dyeing. I think it's still good, but it's pretty light. And so maybe if you use a dark tea, it would be better. But there are a few spots that are darker here and there. There, you can see that. So I think this one has potential, but I just don't like to mess around. I think that I personally like coffee. I don't mind the smell. This one has a hint of lavender. I don't think yeah, I think it does. Oh yeah, it's from the essential oils. And yeah, I like the crinkle sound too. So there we go. So it's not really an experiment, but you can see it does ruin my pans, but I got these pans that I have in here from the Dollar Tree. So yeah, they're pretty dirty looking. I'm sure you could clean them, but I would not use your best pans personally. Unless, well, you know what, if you clean them after each use, I think it would be okay, but I don't clean them. I use them just for coffee dyeing. Yeah. I put dry paper between the layers of dipped paper before I put it in the oven. That's cool. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I feel like there's so many different things that you can do. Nan says that she thinks I should do a tutorial on eco dyeing. I mean, I gotta learn it first, but you guys know that I like doing tutorials even when it's something that I am just learning. So I'll definitely look into that. Do you get different results from air drying versus oven? I do think I see slight difference. And oh my gosh, cocoa powder, that's a good idea. I think that when I put them in the oven, they seem like they end up a little bit darker, but maybe that's because of the pans I'm putting them on. I don't know. But and then when I leave them out, it's more like, it's more of an even color. Unless like this bubbling kind of thing is because there's coffee underneath it, and I don't usually take a paper towel and clean that up because I know I'll get that effect. But I mean, there is some transfer because I do stack them a little bit, but yeah. So I think that the only reason why I see such a difference is because of the pans I'm using. So again, I prefer to leave them out overnight. I will just do it at the end of the day and keep them out, and I have them stacked about 2 or 3 with saran wrap in the middle of each layer. Yeah, like I said, I have like 500 pages that I still need to get through, but honestly, the first 100 I felt like went really quick, so it's absolutely doable. Yeah, it is a lot of work, but talking about the work that I'm doing to get the kits together, which this is a part of it because I'm adding coffee dyed paper in the next kits. You know, I treat it like a job, and I assume that I'm probably going to work 9 or 10 hours in a day. And I know that's not normally how long someone would spend for a work day. Well, some people do, but it's more like an 8-hour day kind of thing. But I take a lot of breaks in there, and I'm literally enjoying every part of it. So I want to work that amount of hours, you know? I talk a lot, I know. Yeah, so I've had, like, there's a handful of people that get worried about me because I work so much, but let's see. Have you ever used just water and dyes? I have. You were asking Liz, though. But I do that all the time, actually, just water and dye. I don't know that I've ever done just water and the brown dye, but I a lot of times do just water and the colorful dyes, or even I've even done just water and food dye, or I've done just water and acrylic paint, which can work, but you gotta like whisk it really, really good. And so both I feel like are pretty much the same exact idea and concept as the coffee dyeing, except you're just using different liquids. Yeah, so and I feel like I wish I could remember the name of that tutorial I did. I don't know if it was called unicorn dyed paper or mermaid dyed paper, but I did one, and I did a tutorial showing you how I got the colors and showing you different ideas and things that you could use. I've used probably every kind of dye that you could think of, and I don't really favor one over the other. I do really like Delusion's ink spray dyes, but they tend to be expensive if you're using them for that, just because you go through them quickly, but you can get sets, you can get them with coupons and things like that. I would think that I've got as good of results from food dyes, but again, there are not a lot of colors that I like. Maybe they have some more available online somewhere though, so that would be something to look into, because I do kind of hate wasting my sprays. And I've even used, like, there's a Delusion's just ink dye. I forget what it is. Maybe it's a re-inker. I don't remember. But yeah. Oh, Lori, thank you. So if anyone's wanted to watch a tutorial on the colored paper, yes, it is called unicorn dyed paper. And it's really fun. So I definitely recommend checking that out and then trying it out, because it's fun. And I was making it when I was doing a lot of unicorn and mermaid journals, and the paper turns out gorgeous. So pretty. Yeah, guys, so like I said, I have work to do. So let me know if you have any other questions, and then I can answer those before I go. I'm trying to debate on whether or not I want to do more coffee dyeing right now, but then it's going to be out on my counter, so I'll probably wait till like right before bed kind of thing. Hi Anna from Colorado. You are very welcome. Yes, do you want to see the paper that I just dyed? I did show it, but that's fine. So this is one that was all coffee, but it did dry in the oven on a cupcake pan. So you're going to see those darker transfers right around the cupcake bowl. This one was coffee and Delusion spray. And then this one is tea. Oh, sorry. I feel like the lighting's kind of changing. And it is pretty light, but on camera it's not showing. It's a little darker in real life than what it shows up as. And it just kind of has a really light brown tint to it. But it has some really cool transfers, like where there are little crinkles and stuff in the paper. Hello to Norway. So I like them all, but I definitely prefer just coffee. It's simple, and you guys can see that my process is really simple, and I feel like once you get going, you can do it really fast. You can definitely let it dry naturally. And I was saying I prefer to do it that way because I don't like to mess with the oven. And so you can just leave it out to dry. I would suggest overnight. If it's like summer and it's warm in your house, it'd probably dry in a couple hours. And then if you're just hopping on, another thing is that I personally would not stack too many on top of one another, otherwise they might stick together and rip. You've never had luck dyeing? See, that's, you buy it from makers on Etsy. Oh, I think that's really cool that you support, you know, the Etsy shop owners. But what doesn't work for you? Because I don't know. I need to get to work dyeing papers. Oh yes, you do, Liz. Oh, that's cool. I was trying to figure out a way to make a cloth or a line so that I could hang my pages on, but I would want to do it like in my garage, I think, because it seems like it would maybe drip. I don't know if it does. But yeah, I haven't figured that out. My husband was talking about it. And bye, Patty. I actually didn't see Patty say bye, but I just saw someone say bye, Patty. There we go. You think it would drip? I do too. But I mean, I guess if you dried it like good enough, but you're using tea bags right now to stamp and then fold them back again and staple. Oh, I just recently saw someone do a video on that, I think. Or I've seen pictures or something. That's so cool. I like that idea a lot. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Just put old towels underneath the line with your drying papers, definitely. And I would totally do that if it was in my garage. You know, I would probably do it in my house. We have hardwood floors, they're easy to clean up, but again, I don't really have a good spot for it, but I do not mind getting messy. Have you tried shaving cream dye? I have tried shaving cream marbled paper, and I do have a tutorial on it. I swear I have a tutorial on everything. Does anyone use leaf tea leaves or loose tea leaves? You know what? I have tried that, Liz, and I personally didn't like it because I felt like things were just sticking to the paper, and I just personally I didn't like it. But I've heard people say that. I've also heard people use like straight up coffee grounds on their paper. And I tried that once too, and it was so messy. It does drip, yeah. I dry them in my basement. Yeah, that's what I would do too if I had a basement. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So for the loose tea leaves, you let those leaves stay on the paper until it dries, and then you take them off, and they make really cool prints. That's cool. I don't know why I didn't think to do that. Yeah, that would be really cool. That sounds awesome. There are so many different things that you can do. Also, different things that you can put on top of your papers to get cool designs. I should mention, I mean, I've done so many videos on coffee dyeing, and they're just randomly throughout my channel. A lot of times they were live streams, but another thing that I like doing, and I do it quite often, is using stencils. I know I've done it in a video or two, but it's probably a live stream, and so it's hard to like look through. But yeah, I like using stencils, and I'll do it so many different ways. Either I will use the stencil on top of a paper and spray some spray, and then I wait for a sec, and then I dip it. Or I've done it where I will coffee dye, and then I'll take the stencil, put it over the papers and spray. Or I'll take a stencil and just use more coffee and kind of sponge it over and kind of let it sit there for a minute so that you can just have a darker color on your paper for that design. What else? I've tried so many different things. I've never tried rock salt, but that's cool. Yeah, I'll need to do that. I feel like there was something else I was gonna say. I don't remember. It had something to do with stencils though. Oh, I love the look of coffee rings. You know, like if you had a coffee cup on a paper and then it leaves that ring. So many times I will actually just take cups out of my cupboard as I'm drying, put the coffee cup on top of the paper, and then add a little bit more coffee just around that cup, and then I just keep the cup on there for a little bit of time. When I take it up, you get that ring. So I mean, it's kind of like this, but when you do it that way, it's only 1 or 2 rings, and it really, I mean, it is like, yeah, so that looks cool. I've used salt on watercolor, but salt on coffee dyed paper. I've heard people say, tried the salt thing on coffee dyed paper, and I've heard that it does something and like kind of bleaches the spots that the salt is on, or something like that. I can't quite remember. And I think that it needs to be more like rock salt, not just like regular salt. Although I'm pretty sure that Lindsay Zenor has experimented with regular salt. I'm pretty sure. And I don't remember if she saw too much of a difference. Jessica, you should put the first coffee dyed paper out. Well, now that you said it and so many people are listening, someone else is gonna invent it. Just kidding. But that's a cool idea. I bet there's like a paper pad that is like coffee dyed paper. Can you emboss the paper then dye it? Yes, you can. I've done that with embossing paste and a stencil, and I've done it with stamping and embossing. I did that actually for my Halloween journals. I did a ton of stamp embossing, and then it will resist the coffee, and so you can still see the shape. But I've also done it with embossing paste, you know what I mean? Yeah, guys, so hello, Joe in South Carolina. Salt, pick up the liquid so it gets a pattern there. Yeah, there's so many different things, so many different fun things that you can try. Yeah, I wish people weren't so scared of coffee dyeing, because yeah, oh, the sun, whoa, because I think it's so fun, and I just think there is so much room for experimenting and kind of making it your own. I love that no 2 pages are the same. It's pretty cool. But alright guys, well, I am going to let you get on with your day, and I will see you guys later. Alrighty? Bye-bye-bye-bye!